Teddy, it was wild. I mean, it's rare that you get a 17-point dog that wins the game in the NFL. How about a 17-point dog that wins by 3 touchdowns, Teddy, and they almost shut out the Vikings?
So, I watch the games in my office. I got 3 TVs, so I usually have 3 games on and then 3 games that I'll watch as the other game. So the early start Sunday games, I don't watch every game. I only watch about 6. So I'm watching I'm not watching Buffalo, Minnesota. And I'm like, okay, 7-0, 14-0, 17-0. I'm like, I better click this on, see what's going on. I watched. It's like the Bills, there was nothing fraudulent about it. They were the better team. It was a complete no-show from Minnesota. That game was over by halftime. And we talk about teams that didn't show up yet, or really teams that didn't show up in week 2 that all of a sudden had a big impact in week 3. I mean, there was a bunch of them. The Bills showed up. The Redskins showed up. The Ravens showed up. All didn't show up in week 2. Arizona got the cover. The Lions got the winning cover. The Giants, who looked god-awful in week 2, looked like an NFL team in week 3. So, hey, I mean, you don't see a lot of plus 1,000 dogs cashing in the NFL, Paul. You just don't. In fact, there's been 15 underdogs of 17 points or more to win a game in the Super Bowl era. And a lot of those point spreads were from back in the day when, you can't take it so seriously. The biggest dog to pull up the outright upset since 1995. Let's give Josh Allen the Bills some credit, but more than anything, Minnesota just didn't show up at all. And of course, they've got the Thursday night game at LA coming up next. So off the tie with the look ahead, the Vikings were flat as a pancake. Buffalo took advantage.
I think, what was it? At one point, third quarter, maybe later, 3 first downs and 3 turnovers. And the 92 Bills, look that up. They lost twice as at least a 16-point favorite. And then Jacksonville went out and got beat. Mariota wasn't even supposed to play. But Jacksonville allowed 9 points at home and lost. I'll ask you this. Who the hell's alive in any of these suicide pools?
Not many. When the biggest favorites go down, that means you better hope that you didn't play the biggest favorites in that particular week. Obviously, the Jags, another double-digit favorite to lose straight up against the Titans. And Jacksonville's defense dominated. Mariota came off the bench. He did what he could. But when your defense holds them to 3 field goals, you're supposed to win that game. But without Fournette, the Jags could not run the football. And Blake Bortles, for as good as he was against New England, he was every bit as bad against Tennessee. It was that Blake Bortles yesterday cost Jags backers a bundle. Delayed the points.
Oh, what could have been for Jacksonville? You got cute, didn't you? You could have had some other quarterbacks. Alex Smith was out there. You stuck with Bortles. Not good. 2 wins. Well, he played well against New England. But this game they should have won. All they do was score 10 points, and he stunk in the win against the Giants. So there was the take these home dogs. They crushed it yesterday, and they're up to a great start this season. But as you point out, these 400-1 for these money lines, it was crazy with all the upsets early, Teddy. No show by the Packers. You're right. Matthews got hit with the roughing the passer again. It was a wild start to the day in the NFL. Bad for the books. Here in Las Vegas, the Saints, horrible result for the books. There were several 6-figure bets on New Orleans, +3 down to 1.5. They got the win outright. An entertaining game. Atlanta's lost 3 guys on defense for the season, and a beautiful drive in overtime for the Saints. They get the walk-off touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was certainly not a good result here in Las Vegas with big money coming in on New Orleans. And, I mean, that's a coin flip game if there ever was one. But the Saints take care of business in OT, and Atlanta doesn't take care of business at the end of regulation. And, of course, that Falcon defense now is a major question mark. Another underdog winning straight up. But I'm going to go through this money line parlays for a minute. All right, if you had the 4-teamer with Buffalo, and nobody did, Buffalo, Tennessee, let's just say Washington and the Giants, you know what that paid? Just 4 teams winning straight up. That pays 400-1. Throw out Buffalo. Nobody had Buffalo on the money line. I think, a couple of dozen people across the globe had Buffalo on the money line. Just have Tennessee, Washington, the Giants on the money line together. 35-1. You understand why I say books are most vulnerable when it comes to money line parlays on underdogs? Here's an example. A 3-teamer paying 35-1. Yeah, that happened yesterday. A handful of people cashed that ticket.
All right, very good. Bad for the books continues. Eagles Colts under 48-45 in the rain. Wentz looked rusty. Another goal line stand. They win 20-16. Ravens from 4.5 up to 6. They beat Denver. Some people think Denver's a little bit phony. We'll find out more Monday at home against the Chiefs. Giants Texans over 41 up to 44. Eli was terrific. Billy O'Brien, hope you got him 12-1 to be the first coach fired. They take on Indy on the road. Could be 0-4. Cowboys, Seabags under 40. I don't get it. I don't know why this line was 42.5 to begin with. Dallas offense stinks. No deep threats. They've scored, 8, 13, and 20 points so far in the season. 42.5 down to 40. Shenanigans there that made it close. Couple of turnovers, but that stayed under as well. Play of the day winner.
Yeah, of course. Let's talk to Deshaun Watson, because Deshaun Watson put up some big numbers in the game against the Giants. I looked at the box score. I'm like, he threw for 380 yards in this game. If you watch the game, the Texans offense didn't work that well, and Watson he just doesn't look like the same QB right now as he did before he got hurt, despite the 380-yard effort. Certainly, bettors had it right when it came to the offensive explosiveness in that ball game. And, of course, I tried to mush us, Pauly. I sent you a text. I'm like, great start to this Cowboys Seabags under game.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, it's touchdown. It was like on Friday night when I was getting those texts. Great call on Illinois in the third quarter. It's like, no, it's a 4-quarter ball game. Illinois was not a great call. Seabags, Cowboys under does cash in, although it was a sweat, Pauly, right down to the final possession.
Yeah, bad bets. Baltimore, Denver over 43 up to 46. I don't know what they're doing here. Get it together, guys. This isn't Alex Smith at quarterback. Chiefs 49ers under 55.5 to 53. They had 35 points at the half. Mahomes 13 touchdowns, no interceptions. Cowboys +3 down to +1. You figure it out. And how about this this is crazy. Now, this is a horrible beat. If you had the Raider game under, it was 10-7 at the half. It was 21-17 with 2 minutes left. And the Raiders gave up a 75-yard touchdown when the Dolphins were just trying to run the clock out. And then the Raiders kicked a field goal with 8 seconds left to make it 28-20. But the Raiders have yet to trail the first 3 quarters. They're 0-3.
The Raiders dominated that game. I had a bet on Miami. It was a wrong side winner, which I'll take. But the Dolphins did make the big plays, and that's what's missing from Oakland's offense, right now. Carr's very accurate. Cooper had a rough game. They're able to run the football, but the red zone execution wasn't there yesterday, and the big playability wasn't there yesterday. That is a brutal beat on the under in that contest. Right side, wrong result. Disastrous final 2 minutes. And you explain the KC under money. Well, I'll explain it. Okay. The betting markets are not comfortable with NFL totals 55 and higher. So you see knee-jerk reaction. Oh, bet the under, slam the under, jamming in bets on the under. I talked to this wise guy, he's jamming in bets on the under. They're not, NFL games shouldn't have total 55. The 2018 Kansas City Chiefs are paradigm shifters every bit as much as the 1999 St. Louis Rams were. Betting the under in Chiefs games is an exercise of utility. Please do it again next week. I'll be betting KC over at kickoff.
Yep. Garoppolo likely out for the season. Huge blow for the 49ers. We'll see how much he affects the point spread, as now they're down to Bethard. They go to L.A. to take on the Chargers next week. I don't know what happened Sunday night with the Patriots. That was ridiculous. Brady threw for 130 yards. And you could see this coming. They let Amendola walk. They traded Cooks. You double Gronkowski. Who's he going to throw to? Who's going to beat him? They're 1-2, and the one win was at home against winless Houston. If they lose Sunday at home to Miami, watch out, because then they're 3 back of the division. One more game, and they get Edelman back. They need him back in the worst way, and I'm with you. I watched the entire game again. I'll say the same thing I said on Tuesday. Trubisky stinks. This is a playoff team. If they had put Daniel in there, if they had an average quarterback, the Bears would be a legitimate playoff threat.
Sure. And let's give Chicago credit for rallying back to get the win yesterday. They never even sniffed a point spread cover. But if Trubisky's putting balls on the money, the Bears win that game by margin. And of course, let's give Matt Patricia some credit. The Lions had a great game plan against Tom Brady last night, which was A, keep him off the field with extended drives, and B, make sure Gronk doesn't get involved in the offense. That being said, boy, didn't Brady look a little bit old last night? I know we said that in Kansas City like 5 years ago, but you don't see the Pats losing back-to-back games anymore very often. And when it comes to the curse of the Super Bowl loser at 1-2, yeah, there's some pressure in New England going into the Dolphins game. Like the show? Help us keep the lights on. Please make sure to comment, share, and subscribe to all the Sportsbook Review videos. Thanks so much. Best of luck. Enjoy the game.